folks, it's 2021, and what would a new year be without some more rail fanning? Welcome back to the Sunshine State Rails. Well, not so sunny today, but the temperature was nice as CSX train 0708 switches customers that reside off of a spur track that diverges at Park Road near Plant City, Florida. We're on the CSX A line near milepost A859, and 0708 had come out of Winston Yard near Lakeland earlier this morning with the criteria of switching local customers between there and Cherry Siding just west of downtown Plant City. He was about 2/3 of the way there now, switching Park Road, a normal duty in this train's list. There's 3 to 4 customers that reside off of this one spur, so they're usually here for a little while. By the time we made it here just after 8:30 a.m., they had presumably pulled out all of their empty cars and were shoving back onto their consist, which was stuck on the main. Not a very big one today, but the consist wasn't really what we were after. It was the engines pulling. Though we would have gone for this train anyway because it's a moving train in Central Florida, for Christ's sakes. Today's 070803 had a CSX Road Slug combo pulling. More on those later. They backed onto the remainder of the train to make it all solid. Then after talking to the dispatcher, they got permission to head down to the potato house just west of Cherry Siding to switch out their final customer. A couple things about today as well. Today I will be testing out my new drone and my new DSLR photography camera lens. So, spoiler alert, I'm sure you guys are going to like the drone footage because it's some of the smoothest I've ever seen. But either way, 708 was coming down the hill, so we set up and waited. Kind of a sudden change of clips there. That's because it was. On a quick drive afterwards over to Lakeland to see if there was anything happening around there, we found a restricting signal which would bring a train off of the A line into Winston Yard, and after driving about 200 feet the other way, we found the headlight. So we made some quick U-turns and doubled back to the railroad crossing. And around the corner came a mixed freight train. Since we didn't hear anything on the radio, and judging by the time of morning, we had first assumed that this would have been Q452 coming up from Miami with mixed freight traffic. But after seeing what was in the train's consist and the locomotive setup, it looked more like, and turned out to be, Q603. Running about 5 hours late, normally a nightly mixed freight from Waycross, Georgia to Winston. This train lugs in a wide variety of commodities. Empty phosphate hoppers, loaded Martin Marietta rock, loaded lumber center beams, loaded sulfur tanks, empty scrap guns, and even refrigerated potato reefer cars, which we'll see a little bit of at our next location. About midway in the train, 603 came to a stop, presumably to line a yard switch further back in there, but conveniently, the mid-train DPU engine that 603 was equipped with this day happened to position itself about 100 feet north of us, so it was an easy walk down to the locomotive, and for about 5 minutes you could just sit back and relax as a GE locomotive idled right in front of you. And just as quickly, got rolling again. once 603 got by, we were considering staying around and seeing if anything would come by, but then we remembered, oh yeah, right, this is Central Florida, and nothing else runs right now. So, we decided to go back after 0708 from this morning, since, well, what he had was something that we'll just say shouldn't be taken for granted. So we tried something new, down National Guard Drive just west of downtown Plant City and down to the spur of the Potato House. Well, it's actually not called Potato House, it's called Florida Potato and Onion, but it seems like over time the railroad has given it the name Potato House. It's easier to remember that way. Here the drones helped us get a real vantage point here, though we had to take our precautions, because we were within about half a mile of the Plant City Airport. However, with those precautions, we kept our drones below 100 feet in the air, much lower than any aircraft should be flying around buildings and power lines like this. Even at 60 feet above ground, you can still tell a lot more than you can from zero. As the Slug said on 0708, shoves 2 loaded reefer cars down to the customer's dock with 2 empties in front of them. Those 2 empties are to go back with them to Winston today. Just off through the vegetation to our left, we can see the remainder of 0708's train sitting on the main line while they do their work on the spur. So maybe with the drone y'all can understand a little clearer on how switching works. With the way their train is set now, all the conductor must do is have the engineer back the 2 loads onto the customer's dock. However, this track adjacent to the customer's dock would commonly be otherwise used to get empty cars out of the way while they push those loaded cars into position. We didn't get to see that today. We were either too late or they didn't have to do that today. Now, what's so special about these 2 engines pulling this tiny local today? Well, like I said, they're a road slug combo. Well, what is a road slug combo? It's 2 locomotives linked together just like any other 2 locomotives, however with a unique design aspect. There are a lot of hoses connecting these 2 engines in between, as they have to transfer a lot of power between them, as in all of it. The 2321 in the second position is the road slug unit. It does not have any engine or prime mover inside of it, but rather gets all of its power from the mother unit, the 6434. So in simple terms, the 6434 is providing power to the 2321, and this was possible because when this design aspect came into play, it was seen that these mother units were often producing more tractive effort than they would ever use. So instead of just wasting it, they added these slug units to use the power as well. And in turn, you get 2 locomotives, or double the tractive effort, almost for free. Now, the reason these are so special is because they're a dying breed, especially in 2020, let alone 2021. It's not common to see these sets of engines anymore, as much as it would have been, say, 5-10 years ago. There's still a fair number out there, but they are diminishing. Once the loads were spotted, that was all the work left to do. All they had was the empties now, and those were to go back with them to Winston. So they would pull them off the spur, attach them to the rest of their train, and then, on a stroke of luck for us, since they had no shoving platform today for the conductor to ride on the way back, they would have to run around the train to put the engines on the other end, which meant the slug locomotive would lead the train back to Winston. It just doesn't get much better than that. So while they used cherry siding to run around their train, we ran around back to Plant City and got the drone up once again for a shot that I don't think has been tried many times before. I don't know, I think y'all might like it. And with the slug locomotive leading, like I said, it just doesn't get much better than this.
Window 3, lead left one, it says 2321, clear signal. I see railroad across the northbound. 452, go ahead, over. Alright, pulling down to 10th Street. Alright, thank you, over.
Pulling down to 10th Street, eh? That was the dispatch conversation with the wounded train, Q452. There was talk of a possible pedestrian strike between Wabash Avenue and South Lakeland. I'm not sure what the issue was because I didn't hear most of the conversation beforehand. However, by the time we got to Lakeland, 452 was already on the move again, and we had missed it by a long shot. But Amtrak 91 was about to pull out of the station, so we stopped in to get that. However, he would have to pass us at 15 miles an hour on account of the previous train, Q452, having gone into emergency in this area. Afterwards, the all-familiar ID 0738 popped up on the scanner. The usually daily local from Winston out to the Auburndale area and Davenport to switch customers all throughout that area. We were kind of disappointed when we saw that it was just engines light coming back until we saw what the third engine was. Whoa, no, let's get a replay on that. Well, it's right in front of your face, so you gotta believe it. A CSX-8, back in service, back on the revenue roster. Back in April, all of these locomotives were thrown into storage, and as far as everyone knew, they were going to be sold off to railroads such as Pan Am or another short line, if not scrapped. However, that's not the case. Some of them are coming out of storage, and some are even headed up to CSX's Huntington, West Virginia engine shops to get electronics upgrades and even DPU capabilities to run again on the roster for another handful of years. Railroad modernization for once in a good respect. And after meeting up with Dalton, we get one more train and one more shot with the drone. Amtrak 91 returning from Tampa with Aaron Carter at the helm and speeding towards Miami now. And hey, what can I say? That's it, and that's all. Thanks for joining us on this quick little outing to Central Florida just after New Year's. We got some awesome stuff out here for the short time we came, and I appreciate you tagging along and watching and taking time from your day to watch what happened in mine. Here's again to future 2021 outings, and on that note, at Winston, Florida, this is Kotabeaner, and I'll see you out here next time on the Sunshine State Rails.